Okay, bros. We are here for your weekly NXT Fix, featuring the ever so popular Bro Ratings. Now, here's your host. Okay, bros, I'm your host, Jimmy the Gibson, and we're here for another episode of your weekly NXT Fix. And since NXT is now on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, I should probably get a new zippy for this. On Wednesdays, we wear any shirt that we want. And this shirt represents TakeOver Brooklyn 3, the very first TakeOver that Jimmy the Gibson attended live in person. That's right, Bobby Roode versus Drew McIntyre, NXT World Championship. And on the bottom of the shirt pictured here, Asuka versus Ember Moon for the NXT Women's Championship. That was a fantastic event. But we're here to talk about this week's NXT. And we started off with an in-ring interview from Kyle O'Reilly. That's right, cool Kyle coming down. Jean jacket, he's got his cool hat, his shades, his shirt. And you know what? Who will Kyle O'Reilly be challenging next now that Adam Cole is put behind? Adam Cole's been defeated. He's put in the past. Kyle O'Reilly's moving on. Well, he's interrupted by none other than Cameron Grimes. That's right. Big money, Grimes time. So Cameron Grimes says, hey, Kyle, I think we should team up. We could be like the new Undisputed Era. Well, Kyle O'Reilly was not having any of that. And he says, you know what? I'm actually cleared to wrestle now after our match at TakeOver between Adam Cole and I. And you know what? I think I see my next opponent right over here. And Cameron Grimes is looking around. Well, where is he? Where is he? And he goes, oh yeah, it's you. And he punches him in the face. And a match is made for later this evening. Now, it's good to see this cool Kyle persona of Kyle O'Reilly. But this, to me, was a waste of an in-ring segment. An in-ring interview just kind of led to a match later on this evening. Not gonna lie, bros, I was not a fan of this. So, it's very disappointing to say this Kyle O'Reilly in-ring interview is going to get a 6.5 on the Bro Ratings. Moving on. I know that was a little disappointing there. But trust me, the rest of the show does pick up, including William Regal welcoming Sarray to NXT. And Zoey Stark says, I would like to be your first challenger. Sarray says, I accept. And now we have a potential match of the night in the making later on this evening. So we've got coming up next is backstage. L.A. Knight is getting ready for a match. And he says, you know what? He was going to steal the show at TakeOver. And then everybody teamed up to eliminate him. So he's got a chance for some revenge against one Dexter Lumis tonight, and he's going to show that mute freak exactly why he's the top star known as L.A. Knight. Leading right into that match, L.A. Knight versus Dexter Lumis. Pretty decent match between the two, not going to lie. Just not a fan of the ending. Indy Hartwell shows up in the crowd and is like, la-da-dee, la-dee-da, you know, butterflies and rainbows and hearts. She's in love with Dexter Lumis, right? Dexter Lumis is like, just staring at her, like. And that caused for a distraction. LA Knight hits his, it's like a cutter, almost like a diamond cutter. Not quite a stunner. His finishing move. 1, 2, 3. Your winner, L.A. Knight. And then Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell walk off. And bros, I don't know where that one's going. This has got me very curious. But I digress. Decent match between the two. So we're going to give that one a 7.4 on the bro ratings. Moving on. Beth Phoenix has a sit-down interview backstage with Io Shirai, the former NXT Women's Champion, and Io says she wants a rematch with Raquel Gonzalez, but now she's had many matches for the last 300 plus days, and now she needs some time to rest. And then a little puppy dog shows up, and of course that's followed by none other than Frankie Monet, a.k.a. formerly known as Taya Valkyrie, a.k.a. La Huera Loca. And Frankie Monet says, you know what? You take your time to rest. I'm here on every Tuesday. I'll take your top spot. And Io responds to Frankie Monet in Japanese. She's yelling at her. It was hilarious. And then Frankie looks at Io and says, I'm sorry, I don't understand. And Io says, I like cats. And that was awesome. What a comeback. Io Shirai, Frankie Monet. I mean, I'm excited for this potential match to come. Hopefully it is at a takeover. Next contest, we had Breezango versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. Breezango coming out looking like the guard at Buckingham Palace. They had their red coats and their black fuzzy hats, and they did a march. It was absolutely hilarious. And, of course, Zach Gibson had something to say. He comes down on the mic. He said, look at these two. Typical ignorant Yanks. Take your daft cosplay and yog on. I don't even know what that means. Maybe we should ask our other buddy on the channel here, Blackpool, see if he can translate. Decent match between Breezango and Grizzled Young Veterans. I think this is where the show really started to pick up the pace. In the end, it was the ticket to mayhem. 1, 2, 3. Grizzled Young Veterans get the pinfall over Breezango, and we're going to give this match a 7.7 on the bro ratings. Moving on. I just want to also mention here, Grizzled Young Veterans should be the number one contenders. I mean, they're laying waste to all top tag teams here in NXT. I think it's time we give the Grizzled Young Veterans a title shot against MSK, and we put those titles on Grizzled Young Veterans. So, we had backstage, The Way is interviewed, and Indy Hartwell has a lot to tell everyone. Well, Johnny tells her to stop. And Johnny's there with Candice and Austin Theory. Bronson Reed comes out demanding another title shot. I'm pretty sure Johnny called him Cuckoo Bananas, because Johnny's trying to get that over as a catchphrase. And Austin Theory says, oh, don't worry about it. I already talked to Mr. Regal. And Bronson has to go through me first before he gets another title shot with Johnny. And Johnny Gargano's like, what? You talked to Regal about this? This is my business. And he goes, don't worry, Johnny. He's got to beat me before he faces Papa John again. Another hilarious line. Then we see backstage, Cameron Grimes. He's going to pay Kyle O'Reilly's medical bills based on what happened to him. Grimes places a high bid on an NFT featuring Ja Morant. And unfortunately, someone else put in a much higher bid by the name of Ted DiBiase. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Please let him show up in NXT, have some sort of interaction, backstage skit even. I would love an in-ring kind of interview segment between $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and Cameron Grimes. That would be epically hilarious. So anyway, this is setting up the Cameron Grimes and Kyle O'Reilly match later on this evening. Our next contest is what we said was going to happen. Sarray making her NXT debut versus Zoey Stark. And what a fantastic match these two women put on. I mean, there was stiff forearms, stiff kicks, crazy suplexes. I mean, a lot of good potential out of both of these women's. And I would say Sarray delivered up to her hype for her very first match in NXT. The match ended, Zoey Stark was getting the upper hand, and then Sarray hit her with a couple moves and ended with a devastating Saito suplex. 1, 2, 3. Sarray is your winner. After the match, Toni Storm comes out, attacks Zoey Stark, lays waste to her in the aisleway, and Sarray runs after Toni Storm, makes the save. Toni runs away and consoles Zoey Stark. So are we going to see Sarray and Toni Storm? That's a match I would love to see. Anyway, this match, we're going to give this one a 7.9 on the bro ratings. Moving on to our 1-minute figure review. Okay, bros, here's the figure we're going to be talking about this week. It is the NXT TakeOver Roman Reigns. Check that bad boy out. Roman Reigns, elite NXT TakeOver figure, made his NXT debut October 31st, 2012. One of the OGs of NXT is your current tribal chief, your head of the table. This is a figure that we should all acknowledge. I mean, he's got the NXT Soft Goods t-shirt. He is just looking ripped as ever. Jacked Roman Reigns, looking like a badass. This is a solid NXT figure. Now back to me. And we're back! NXT continues on here with Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Said, you know what? They beat Io Shirai so bad, she needs to take a vacation. Well, you know what? Who's going to challenge Raquel next? I mean, they're already saying Mercedes Martinez would like a title shot. And you know what? Dakota says, you know what? I want to study wizardry at Hogwarts too. But that isn't happening. And Mercedes Martinez isn't going to get what she wants. Raquel said all of the women can line up and she will put them down until there are no other challengers. Really looking forward to see Raquel's first challenger as NXT Women's Champion. Looks like it should be Mercedes Martinez, and that would be a pretty brutal match that looking forward to checking out. Next contest this evening was Kushida extending the Cruiserweight Open Challenge to anybody in the back. And who answered it? None other than 1 out of 1-2. That's right, 1-2-2s. Oney Lorcan answers this challenge. Danny Burch is sidelined with an injury, so Oney's challenging Kushida. And this was a pretty brutal match. Pretty stiff. A lot of stiff chops and kicks, submission holds. Turns out, in the end, it was the hoverboard lock applied to Oney. Oney Lorcan tapped out. Kushida wins. Still your NXT Cruiserweight champion. And after the match, Legado del Fantasma comes down, attacks Kushida. MSK comes in, makes the save. And what do we have lined up here? That's right, 6-man tag team match coming your way next week. So, Oney Lorcan and Kushida, we're going to give that match a 7.9 on the bro ratings. Moving on, Indy Hartwell runs into William Regal, who is granted Candice and Indy another tag team championship match. So we'll see where that goes. I'm really hoping Candice and Indy win the titles, so that way Candice and Johnny can hold titles at the same simultaneously as part of The Way. Our next match was Everrise Rules versus Imperium, Marcel Bartel, Fabian Eichner. And you know what? All I would have rather see here was let Everrise speak a little on the microphone. These two guys are hilarious. If you have a chance, check out their Saturday morning show. I believe it's on WWE.com called Everrise Rules. And but it was basically a squash match. Imperium pretty much dominated. Everrise didn't really get too much in. Not a fan of that. Imperium hit their top rope flying uppercut for the 1, 2, 3. Imperium's your winner. And we're going to give this one a 6.4 on the bro ratings. Moving on, we have your main event of the evening. Cool Kyle O'Reilly versus Cameron Grimes to the moon. And on his way to the ring, Kyle O'Reilly walks right by Scarlett Bordeaux and Karrion Kross. And Kross just stands there looking on. I think that's some foreshadowing right there, bros. Look for Kyle O'Reilly to potentially be Karrion Kross's first major challenger for the NXT Championship. So Kross looks on. A pretty decent match between the two. Not the greatest. Cameron Grimes hit his running Spanish fly. Kyle O'Reilly hit his, dive into the ropes, coming back with a vicious clothesline. In the end, O'Reilly sets up with a little brain buster on Cameron Grimes and goes for the top rope flying knee drop. Hits the flying knee drop to the back of the head, neck area to Cameron Grimes. 1, 2, 3. Kyle O'Reilly standing tall, cool Kyle, at the end of this week's NXT. Pretty solid match. We're going to give that one a 7.7 on the bro ratings. So that means your match of the night is actually a tie. For the first time ever, we have a tie. Kushida versus Oney Lorcan. Sarray versus Zoey Stark. Both fantastic matchups this week. Now, we had 7 matches or in-ring segments this week, giving us an average bro rating of 7.36. Little down this week, not gonna lie. Was not a fan of that Kyle O'Reilly in-ring promo, nor the Everrise Imperium squash match. But we got some good stuff coming up next week. And that means it's prediction time! Next week on NXT, I'll give you my predictions. We've got Legado del Fantasma will defeat MSK and Kushida in 6-man tag team action. I believe that Mercedes Martinez will defeat Dakota Kai. And Bronson Reed will defeat Austin Theory. So there you have it. That's my predictions. Thank you so much for watching. I'm your host, Jimmy the Gibson. Please like my video. Share this video. Subscribe to the channel and comment below. And we will see you next week for some more. Later, bros!